on SportsGrid Pro Football Today. Joe Lisi and Kevin Walsh as we look back, Joe, at occasionally a lackluster, I feel, Sunday that ended up with a number of big-time results.
Upsets across the board, right? The dogs were barking all day. Unbelievable action. We saw Denver step up. We saw New England in the Sunday. Well, you got to start with the big boys. Number one team, right? And teams like Detroit continue to win and build momentum. I mean, I really believe we're starting to see the top teams.
You just the things that you brought up were the Eagles losing, and then the team that I picked to win the Super Bowl getting smashed. You went upsets. That's all right. So we're off to a good start.
I threw in Drake
I didn't
May.
hear it.
I said New England.
I don't know.
I said, please, come on. Two best teams heading into the weekend.
Two unbeaten teams
were Buffalo.
Yep.
And the Eagles.
And they both lose.
And as favorites. Buffalo is a 7.5-point favorite, and the Eagles 3.5-point favorite, and it's the same old MO for the Eagles, right? First half lead. This time they got caught by Bo Nix and a defense that made adjustments.
Yeah.
It happens in the NFL. I still believe the Eagles are the most complete team heading into Week 6, that if the Super Bowl and the playoffs started tomorrow, my money would still be on Jalen Hurts and the crew. But there's parity, and that's what we saw play out.
Well, let's start with Sunday night, Joe, where you were right. Buffalo actually was the last unbeaten team since Philly was earlier in the day. And this didn't look the way the Eagles game did, right? This was a game that New England scored first. New England had a halftime lead. New England had a double-digit lead. And New England not walked it off, but basically walked it off with a late field goal. I'm not saying this is a game where Buffalo doesn't think they're the better team, but it wasn't on display here in this matchup. And here's my thing with Buffalo. Super Bowl favorites, as they oft find themselves during this Josh Allen run. You know, this is supposed to be their year. Well, they were gift-wrapped a delightful start to this season. We talked about this, you and I, on Sunday. 4 of their first 5 games at home. The opponents that they've played, Baltimore, a different team at the time, but it's not like that's aged incredibly. The Jets, winless. The Dolphins, their only win is the Jets. The Saints, and this loss to the Patriots. Joe, I mean, we look here, strength of victory. Buffalo's a .150. Their strength of schedule is one of the very worst in the league, if not the dead worst in the league. So at 4-1, am I supposed to be impressed with what I've seen from the Buffalo Bills?
No, but what team impresses you? I mean, that's the thing. I mean, we could take...
Well, yeah, but there's only one team that's a Super Bowl favorite by $2, and it's them. So I should be impressed, shouldn't I?
You should be, but
Are you impressed?
No, I'll just say this. Again, money-wise, Buffalo... and maybe the Chiefs would garner right now in week number 5 where I put my money. But I think if we look at the AFC East, the New England Patriots now are the team that matches up well with Buffalo because last year was no aberration. We talk about the Week 18 or Week 17 victory, right, where they rested all the starters. They covered that game, New England. And then they covered the 11.5-point spread earlier in the year when the Bills came off the monumental win against Detroit. And they were 11.5-point dogs, and they lose 24-21. They come back this year in a primetime environment. They're 7.5-point underdogs. Defense shuts down Josh Allen and James Cook. And Drake May is now coming into his own. And Stephon Diggs, their former player, abuses them with 12 targets, 12 receptions for $146. I mean... they are now a legitimate playoff contender. So, am I putting a lot of weight into Buffalo because they lost? No. They're still one of the best teams in the AFC. Maybe the home field tarnishes a little bit because they won 14 straight and now they lost.
Right, but Joe, so again, right,
But if the playoffs started tomorrow...
Okay.
And Josh Allen and the Bills got a 2 seed.
Yeah.
You would still think they have a legitimate shot to make an AFC championship run. Which team? But my point is, which team after 5 weeks are you going? You know what? They're a no doubt about it team. Is it Denver just because they beat Philly?
No.
Is it the
I
Pats?
think there's some no doubt about it making the playoff teams, to which Buffalo is one of them, Joe.
Right.
But what you're describing is not the way they are priced in the market. They've covered one game on the opening number.
Okay.
They opened as 1.5-point favorites against Baltimore.
Right.
Against the Jets.
Right.
So they're not beating They're 4-1. They're not beating expectations. They've played two teams that look like they have playoff aspirations in Baltimore, and it took a mammoth comeback to save that game at home. And New England, whose postseason hopes were flipped because they beat Buffalo, at home. What is their great performance?
Well,
the Jets are the only winless team in the league, and that's the only team they covered against.
But you still believe in Josh Allen, right?
Sure, we all believe in Josh Allen. But
so
Joe,
as bad as they were in that game, they still tied it in the fourth quarter.
Okay.
So their defense is not AFC Championship caliber, a la Chiefs.
But
right?
that's what the bar is for this team. It is. It's not good enough. And if this team, with this soft schedule, we have to evaluate this team to the expectation.
So then what team would you, right now, say is the best in the AFC?
Well, I think the AFC is having a really down year.
It is, but there's parity. So my point is, are we putting weight in Denver now because they beat the Eagles?
Well, I think it's a big boost
Denver
for Denver.
lost 2-1 point, 3 points or less down to the wire. They lose to the Chargers. They lose to... I'm just saying, like...
Hold on, but do you think that they are markedly better about this Buffalo team than Kansas City?
No, because, again...
But they're booked like it.
Yeah, but again, Kansas City has a much more difficult run. The Chargers are better. The Broncos... Now, the Chargers have 2 losses, but they're still marginally better than the Dolphins and Jets at this point.
I understand that.
Same thing, obviously, with I mean, both of those Dolphins and Jets are pathetic right now. We're talking about a combined 1-9.
So again, right? So look, Buffalo's biggest gift is they play in a division that has 2 lifeless football teams.
Correct. So their road is going to be a lot easier than, let's say, the Chiefs.
But here's my only thing, right? The whole selling point on Buffalo is, well, the AFC East, nothing to worry about. Well, the only other team with a pulse in the division, they just hosted in their building as over touchdown favorites and lost.
Right. Yeah. So
I'm sorry, but that's more concerning than Kansas City losing to the Chargers in week 1. We're going to get into Philly. I think that's more concerning what happened with Philly. The Baltimore thing's a whole nother planet. We'll get there. But, Joe,
But we were talking about this team last year and the year before about them not having it complete.
I think this is a break. Here's the thing.
You think it's a breaking point?
It is. Is it not? If
it continues and Josh Allen puts up a $175 or 200 and he has multiple interceptions and he's not running the football and they're completely one-dimensional, then yeah. But as long as Josh Allen's healthy,
making the Super Bowl,
correct,
for this team
is a bust.
Right. So right now through 5 weeks, they're a 4-1 football team. Right. Point differential is good. Josh Allen is playing well. I don't think he's lighting the world on fire, but defensively, I see the same issues from last season, and I am seeing them right now have this soft schedule, and they've taken advantage of it to the most that they can. But the 2 spots where it's step up and show me something, they nearly got ran off their field by Baltimore and lost to New England Patriots.
Right.
I think that's disappointing. And again, I'm not even saying they shouldn't be Super Bowl favorites. They're $2 above Philly.
Yeah. No.
They're
you see
$3 above the Chiefs.
I would not.
Who they can't beat.
No. So I agree with you in that. I'm just talking the AFC. To me, it's them and the Chiefs, but I would not put anybody, even with the loss to Denver, ahead of the Eagles.
Fair enough.
All right, because if the playoffs started tomorrow, they're going to win it.
We're going to get into it. How concerning is this Eagles loss? How should it impact the market? We'll tell you after the break on SportsGrid.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Well, Shadur, which quarterbacks are you talking about? Because there is some bad quarterback play out there, but the dude who can't beat Dylan Gabriel out for a job and can't beat Joe Flacco out for a job, certainly can't lay claim to being better than any other quarterback in the league.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
That's a lot for a closer. 10. You're not a closer anymore if you blow 10 games. I mean, my goodness. That's
He's mentally broken too. Like, it's to the point where, like, Dodger fans aren't even mad at him; they're more mad at the Dodgers for putting him out there.
Putting him in,
right? It's more so.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, guys, like, he's done.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Major League Baseball has decided it is time to put balls and strikes not just in the hands of the umpires, but also the robot umpires, as they say. The ABS system is now officially in place starting next season. Now, keep in mind, they're not just throwing this out there. They have used this at the Arizona Fall League, and they've also used it at different levels of the minor leagues as well.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
2 4-0 teams leave Sunday 4-1. The Buffalo Bills lose a Sunday nighter to the New England Patriots. Clearly, I'm hard on Buffalo for that loss. They're the Super Bowl favorites. I think we should be hard on Buffalo. Well, the New England Patriots knocked off a Bills team that's trying to become Super Bowl champions. The Eagles are. So if we're hard on Buffalo, then we should be hard on Philly. A 21-17 loss in their building when they were up 17-3 and allowed 18 unanswered points to the Denver Broncos, all of which came in the fourth quarter. There is a lot going on around this Eagles team, Joe. I'm going to let you start here. What did you make of the Eagles' first loss of the season?
Disappointing because, again, they had a double-digit lead in the first half and allowed it to slip again, right? They were in a position to potentially pull it out. They convert on third down, but then Saquon Barkley gets called for the illegal shift, right? They have to punt the football, game over, signed, sealed, delivered. I actually didn't believe it was a shift. I thought it was a good play. But, you know, he wasn't set. How many times do they make that call in that situation? You never see it. Jalen Hurts drops a dime. But credit Sean Payton, credit Bo Nix, because he's starting to come into his own. This team, I think, could be a real detriment to potentially either Kansas City or Buffalo should they meet up again in a playoff type of environment. I know they lost 2 tough games, but if we're looking big picture, Denver or the Chargers, I would say Denver has more of an opportunity to go deeper in the playoffs. I honestly believe that. I think their defense is much better. You saw that yesterday, them containing Saquon Barkley. He has the big touchdown catch, holds him to 30 yards, but that was a dominant defensive front effort. And Benito is one of the best edge rushers in the game. Doesn't get enough credit, I believe. But, hey, you know, styles make fights, and this was a heavyweight bout, and Denver stole it.
So Denver stole it. The Eagles were up 17-3. They were, it looked like, on their way to finally winning big, right? Again, the Eagles have played the toughest schedule in football. I don't really think there's anyone who would argue otherwise. So being 4-0 through that is great, but it hadn't looked clean. It hadn't looked dominant. And Jalen Hurts was getting rhythm, downfield shots. There were a number of calls late in this football game that felt 50-50. The broadcast described it as that, and they kept breaking Denver's way. But ultimately, if you're up 17-3, you should bury a team. And the Eagles had a chance to bury the team. A 60-yard would-be touchdown that initially looked like Jalen Hurts overthrew A.J. Brown. And then the other angle comes out, A.J. Brown stopped running. A.J. Brown is one of the biggest problems the Eagles have right now, and a significantly bigger problem than Jalen Hurts. A.J. Brown won't stop complaining loudly and outwardly despite wins. He won't stop complaining loudly and outwardly despite targets. And he won't now stop complaining in the middle of plays. Because he thought, not coming my way, this guy can't hit me. So he stops running. Meanwhile, 10 more yards. There's the 60 yards you care about. There's the touchdown you care about. And there's a 5-0 start to the season.
It's unbelievable.
No, but Joe.
It is.
No, but here's the thing, man. Because I've never seen anything like this. You've been covering this league a long time. The diva wide receiver is something that everybody talks about, but usually the same way. What a problem, what a problem, what a problem, what a problem, what a problem. Odell went on a boat. Eli's throwing picks. Odell's fault. Why was he on that boat? Despite the fact that Odell saved Eli's career. Randy Moss, legend. Oh, but he pulled his pants down. Can we kick the Vikings out of the league? A.J. Brown is the first diva wide receiver to complain, and people go, I got to be honest, I already won a Super Bowl. If I'm him, it's all about the Hall. Get the gold jacket. Put him on the Tennessee Titans or the New England Patriots. He'd be better off. Oh, interesting. Interesting how that works. But you now have a guy who is so in his head because it's not going exactly how he wants. By the way, those slant routes, one of the reasons they're not working is he's not open. We don't talk much about that.
No.
He's so in his head, Joe, that it is now impacting him finishing plays. And that, to me, is a much bigger problem than anything else going on with this Philly football team. Because if you're not on the same page, if you are not one-track mind towards what is supposed to be the ultimate goal, then you are going to have games like this where you're up 14 and you're throwing on 2nd and 6 to go out there and try and give this guy the touches he won't stop complaining about.
I know, and Saquon Barkley had 6 carries for 30 yards. Is he complaining?
The best play A.J. made was the defense on Devonta Smith on the Hail Mary. He's probably upset the ball wasn't coming his way. It's garbage.
Look, we got to talk to Sirianni. Can we get Sirianni in here? What are we going to do? I know you're upset.
This fell.
It's
This fell.
He's hot. He's hot. There's no I in team, right? I think when you think of it,
there's no I in stats either.
Well,
there's an I, and I quit on the route.
Well, he did quit. He did. And you know what? It's going to be a problem. But again, Jalen Hurts is a team guy. Saquon is a team guy. It's winning football games. That's the biggest thing. And when you look at this team right now, they're defending a Super Bowl championship. They were 4-0. He's complaining. He's not making plays. They targeted him against Tampa Bay. He wasn't happy. He wasn't gaining separation. And then he quit yesterday. So now they have a situation. But this is on Sirianni. Sirianni, it's on Nick now to right the ship. If you don't want to upset A.J. Brown, that's fine. But you call a team meeting. You call A.J. into the office, and you get ahead of this. If he can't do that, then
I know what you're saying.
But he's got to.
Joe, they can't. They changed the whole identity.
I know.
To let's just throw. And I think they should throw more because right now, again, no one's interested in talking about. Saquon doesn't look himself, and the offensive line is struggling to block. They miss Mekhi Becton. Dixon keeps getting injured. Lane Johnson keeps getting injured. So they should throw more. But, Joe, they're now went out.
Feeding them.
Joe, they had the second highest pass rate in the league this week.
Yeah.
The league.
But that's what you're going to have, though, Kev. When you have a
and
wide,
he's still annoyed.
But look at Stephon Diggs with Buffalo.
They're up 17-3, and he's still complaining.
Yes, but it's where we're at in the league. When they're your pure number one, they want the football all the time. They don't care about anything else. We saw this situation play out with Stephon Diggs. I keep doing it. He got 14 targets yesterday. He's happy. 12 receptions. It's a one-man show. It's isolation and everything now. And Stafford to Puka.
I gotta settle this. All right, I gotta sturdy this back up. We're right back here. Pro Football Today on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
They know the minutia of game time decisions,
way
when
more.
to call timeouts, when the kick, go for 2, and all that other stuff better than the head coaches, because the head coaches aren't watching 30, 35 games like sports fans are between college football and the NFL. All the head coaches are doing are watching game films. They may be watching 30 game films, but they're not watching game management. So the fan does know.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Mike Trout, will he ask for a trade? And maybe I'm a bit of a Neanderthal for asking this, and people are going to say, listen, he's never leaving. I refuse to accept that we're just not going to get Mike Trout postseason baseball ever again. Because clearly when healthy, he can still do it. But he's also rarely healthy and still kind of expensive. It's complicated.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Course setup, Bethpage, and how soft the greens were, how long it played. It definitely was an advantage for Europe, from my mind, and they putted better.
Well, but do you think, in a weird way, that same setup is what allows the Americans to get back in it today? Because you do see a lot of those big putts made.
Yeah.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Back with you right here on SportsGrid, Kevin Walsh and Joe Lisi. We were talking Eagles-Broncos, and then some maniac came into the studio and started screaming and banging the table. And if we could just pull back for 1 second, I don't know if I was able to appropriately really even ask you this question, though, around the Eagles. Because the more level-headed of it all, Joe, is I think they've flashed greatness in all 3 phases through 5 weeks. But not consistently.
No.
I think we've seen great performances offensively, occasionally, defensively, occasionally, special teams occasionally. For the Philadelphia Eagles, I think the saving grace is that you expect them to be in the playoffs, win the division, compete for a number 1 seed, and you hope things are clicking by the time you're in the playoffs. That's what everybody is hoping for. My question for you, though, is and I think you were describing it a little bit, but truly, how much of a problem is this for Philly, right? This offensive, who knows, right? / A.J. Brown complaining, and what is the appropriate fix in order for this team to go back-to-back a Super Bowl champ?
Well, I think it is a problem because now when it starts affecting it on the field, that's a big problem, right? It's one thing going into a press conference. It's another thing, being upset after the game is over and voicing your opinion, but still stepping up, blocking, running your routes, and making all the proper decisions to put your team in a position to win. But when you stop on routes, you give up on your quarterback, and all he's doing is trying to give you the football to make you happy. That's a problem. Now it's a problem because they lost their identity somewhat, right? They're throwing the ball obviously much more than they did last year early on. The rushing attack doesn't have cohesiveness. Saquon, if I would have told you at the start he was going to get 6 carries for 30 yards, that he was going to have a bigger part in the receiving game than he was the rushing attack yesterday, you wouldn't have believed it.
Nope.
Especially when you have a double-digit lead in the first half. You got to believe, we'll rely on our bell cow to potentially try and put up, 10, 15 more points to pad a lead. That didn't happen.
Nope.
And because they didn't change the offensive philosophy or they continued to go to the wideouts, they allowed Denver back in the game, and Denver stole this game. Yeah. And that's the problem now. It's now affecting wins and losses. And it's only one game, but you better watch out before you have string together 2 or 3, and then you have a locker room problem. And that's why I say it's on Sirianni to fix it now after one game.
But you said something that's really important, and I think people need to understand this, right? I'm an Eagle fan, so that bothers me, but I'm the most unbiased man in the history of sports media, so we can still judge this accordingly. But the fan in me comes out when you say what you just said, it's impacting wins and losses. See, all of AJ's complaining, I've really think has been bad. But the Eagles keep winning.
Right.
That was the first time since AJ's complained they've lost a game.
Right.
He complained last year after they beat Carolina. They threw, all good. They won the Super Bowl, all good. It is that I truly, in my heart, believe the most costly thing about yesterday's game is his attitude and approach to the game, pregame, in-game, postgame.
Right.
And I think it puts the Philadelphia Eagles in this very bizarre position where that is the first time that Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown have finished a game, Joe, and they've lost since 2023.
Right.
So it's very hard to then say, oh, you should trade that player away. You know, you and I spent a lot of times talking about the value of Tyreek Hill potentially on the trade market. Obviously injured on the Monday night game the past week. That's not going to be on the board. Could A.J. Brown come available? If you were a Buffalo Bills, if you were an L.A. Chargers, whomever it would be, Green Bay Packers, is A.J. Brown someone you would want to bring into your building because of the talent?
Yeah, yes, but again, the problem is, does he want to win championships or does he want to get stats? Because if he wants stats, then I'd send him to Tennessee, back to Tennessee with Cam Ward, that outside of Calvin Ridley has no wide receiver help. Yeah. And that's the biggest question mark, is he wasn't winning a championship in Tennessee. He's come to Philadelphia. He's evolved as a pure number one. Mm-hmm. He's helped this team emerge as the dominant team in the NFL, and it's still not good enough. So trading him, they're not going to trade him to an NFC contender.
You would think not. I mean, again,
he's not going to Green Bay or he's not going to Dallas. Many people have talked
about him going to the Patriots, reunite with Vrabel. They could use a wide receiver. They'd be very happy to pay him.
What are you getting in return, though?
So this is the saddest part about it.
It doesn't matter?
No. The value Philly would be seeking, mainly, is getting rid of him. It's not about anything getting in return. It's...
Can you give me somebody?
You'll end up with picks, but no, Joe. Like, that's if they get to a point where they're trading. It's not because they think they're going to upgrade somewhere else.
They would have to elevate Jahan Dotson.
Sure,
Devontae would be one.
Smith, the run right. Have to get going, but that becomes a very interesting thing. See, look, at the end of the day, we're talking about Buffalo and Philadelphia, who have some questions, but they're 4-1. You could be the Baltimore Ravens, who have some questions and are 1-4. And are still favored to win the AFC North. Let's talk about that next.
Ashton Genty, between yards and yards before contact and yards after contact, all these sorts of... They're giving him nothing. He is getting hit constantly behind the line of scrimmage, multiple yards behind the line of scrimmage. And frankly, at this point, I think he's essentially out of the race, and this is partly due to Emeka Egbuka having a great year, Tyler Warren putting up big numbers. Ted McMillan, I think, is maybe the most talented player overall in the rookie class.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The leader right now in the clubhouse in the odds market is Fernando Mendoza. College football purists, yep, absolutely know that guy. Fantastic. He's a great quarterback. Non-purists who are tuning in just for the biggest games, who is this guy, Joe, and how did he get here?
Well, he came from Cal. He's a mobile kid. He's big. He's about 6'3", about 220. He's a gutty kid and had a great performance for Kirk Cignetti.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
We're in a weird place with Trevor Lawrence. This was another one of these quote-unquote can't-miss generational quarterback prospects, right? Everybody was salivating over when he was a freshman winning national championships. And here we are, about 5 years later, looking at ourselves going, is it just time for Trevor Lawrence to get a change of venue or something? Like, what's got to give here? Hopefully this Liam Cohen offense starts to come together.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
The Americans got to find answers in these partnerships, and I think they need to look at their who's making these decisions from a stat standpoint.
Well, it's so funny to me, especially coming off of the Walker Cup just a few weeks before, how it just seems like there's this glaring chasm between American partnered match play and American individual, singles match play.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Pro Football Today on SportsGrid, figuring out how concerned certain teams should be. For Buffalo, be in the playoffs, can you get it done? And those questions will be out of Beaver pitch in January, really, not October. For the Eagles, it's more of the same. I guess, can you survive some of the week-to-week headaches that are out there right now is a part of it. But again, you know you're going to be there, right? It feels at least that way, Joe. For the Baltimore Ravens, you and I talked a lot about this game together on Sunday. We did. Because the Texans were picked in a game that they should absolutely roll in. And they rolled 44-10. And the story is not, hey, should we bet some Houston futures, though, secretly, quietly, maybe off air, I'll talk to you. I'm interested, but not right now. How concerned do the AFC North favorites right now,
105
Baltimore Ravens, how concerned should they be?
Very. Because, again, it's not – the issue is not just the fact that Lamar Jackson is not playing in the offense.
Uh-huh.
This is a defensive issue that they can't stop anybody.
Right.
So – and you're talking about one of the worst offenses that we've seen in Houston. I mean, this wasn't a juggernaut putting up 35 points per game. They were struggling to score points.
Yeah.
Right? C.J. Stroud was not the same quarterback. He wasn't throwing the football consistently to his wide receivers, Nico Collins and Xavier Hutchinson. All of a sudden, they have a breakout performance yesterday because that defense for Baltimore is basically gutless. That's what they are.
Yeah.
They can't stop the run. They're getting abused in the passing attack. They have no identity. They're not opportunistic, playing terrible third down defense. You tell me, even if Lamar comes back, is their defense going to shore up and they're going to be a top 10 unit the rest of the way? Absolutely not. So this falls on John Harbaugh. This falls solely on the coaching staff. Look, I ripped Mike McDaniel for not being able to get the football to Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill last year when Tua was out. And, oh, by the way, he should have been fired after that performance yesterday.
We can get more into it.
But I'm just saying.
No, I got you.
John Harbaugh, without his star, is supposed to be a special teams defensive wizard for the most part, right?
Mm-hmm.
Physicality. Where's the defense? Where's the defense? The Giants' defense is better than the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, the Saints' defense is better right now than the Baltimore Ravens. Take any garbage team in the NFL, they're better than the Ravens. This team is pathetic right now. Pathetic.
You're absolutely right. The way that they just got steamrolled in that game.
They quit, too.
Well, I mean, yeah, right. They were set up after a big Zay Flowers play for that touchdown, right, where Derrick Henry was able to get into the end zone. Here's my thing. Next week, the lines are out. It's a 7.5-point line in Baltimore in favor of the Rams. That tells me no Lamar, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So then they hit the bye, and then we have Week 8, and it seems to be the consensus Lamar will be back.
Okay.
Before we get to the rest of the schedule, it's a hamstring injury for the most athletic quarterback in maybe football history. Are you sure he's back Week 8?
No.
Because that's what I keep coming back to, Joe.
And we keep going back to the Mike Evans hamstring that always pops up. Is he ever 100%?
No.
Right? And he always seems that he tweaks it
Still
throughout
1,000, though.
Right? Yeah. But my point is, this team needs to change their defensive scheme with the players that they have. Otherwise, they're not going anywhere. But without Lamar, they're not going anywhere, Kev.
So
they're not beating Buffalo. They're not beating KC. They're not beating maybe the Steelers at this point because you got to give Steelers credit. They're at the top of the AFC North, okay? They're not beating anybody else that is a winning football team. They're not beating Houston the way Houston is playing defensively right now. Who are they beating in their conference?
So
nobody.
It's funny, and I think you're doing a really good job of hitting on, in the way I was talking about Buffalo and Philadelphia. The Ravens were the preseason Super Bowl favorites, so none of this matters.
One more. Are they beating the Indy the way they're playing?
No, I think you're totally spot on. Here's what I wanted
Jacksonville?
No, but here's what I wanted to say. Again, like the Eagles and the Bills, the Chiefs, the Lions, the Packers, it's like they're going to be in the playoffs, right? But Baltimore, we don't know. I think we don't know if they're going to be in the playoffs. Here's what keeps standing out to me. If we can pull up the Ravens schedule again. Yeah, let's throw the Rams game out. Let's throw the Bears game out. Joe, Dolphins, dead in the water. Vikings, I don't know what's going on. Browns, come on, they're terrible and we all know it. Jets, woof. Cincy, don't get me started. Pittsburgh, anybody believe in them?
They're going to make the playoffs.
Cincy again.
The last three are tough.
Look, here's my thing. If Lamar Jackson can get back by week 9, they might be 1-6, and I might be ripping playoff tickets on this
Just
team.
like Cincinnati was last year, 9-8, right? They had to win out when Burrow and that team were rolling in the middle part of the season. Give them every win. Give them Miami, Vikings, Browns, Jets, Bengals. We'll give them a loss, so there's 5-1.
Yeah.
We'll split the Bengals, right?
I don't know. Will we split Cincinnati with the Jake Browning stuff?
I just did it because it's a division.
I got you.
Yeah, we can't have them undefeated. I mean, it's possible, but then we'll give them 1 and 2 out of the Patriots, Green Bay, and the Steelers. What are we looking at? 8 wins?
Yeah, that's 8 wins. I mean, look, I don't think they're a wild card team with 8 wins. Could they win this division with 8 wins? I don't think so. I think Pittsburgh can get themselves to 9.
But even if they give them 9 wins, right?
Okay.
They're not going anywhere with that defense.
So I wonder, do a 9-8 4-seed Baltimore, right? Healthier, Lamar playing carefree and loose. How dangerous do they feel?
They're as dangerous as the Bengals were with no defense last year.
That team, if they would have got in, they felt dangerous.
If they would have got in. But they're it's a similar situation.
Fair point.
I mean, Burrow put up almost, 5,000 yards?
Yeah.
Jamar Chase.
It's a fair point.
I mean, it's the exact same. One side of the ball is great.
Yeah.
The other side of the ball is terrible.
Can we bring up Cincinnati then quickly? Because we're going to, run it around this whole league in a second.
Yeah, he comes out and he says he's open to getting another call. Great, Zach. Great. It's a nice job by you.
Jamar Chase.
Finally broke out.
Listen, that guy, I mean, that's a future gold jacket. Take it easy, though, okay? Because he's about to save Jake Browning's job. He's so good down the stretch of that game against Detroit. Joe, we look at the Ravens. Here's the thing. I don't care that Cincinnati is 2-3, okay? The favorites in the division are worse than that. They have to get a quarterback.
So if they got Russ, let's just say, Russ tomorrow.
Yeah.
Would you bet the 11-1? And we still have no
100%.
time. We have no timeline. We're hoping Burrow by the end of the season.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean,
I bet the 11-1?
he's like fell off a cliff. We haven't heard anything.
Look, next week they play Green Bay. They're getting so many points. It makes my stomach hurt because I'm going to lose money again betting these. Did you see it? Have you seen it? How many they're getting in Green Bay? What do you think? What do you think in Green Bay?
13.5.
You're in with me, buddy. 14.5. Here we go. Here we go. 14 and a hook. Listen, but Joe, after that, Pittsburgh, Jets, Bears. You're telling me Russell Wilson can't go 2-1 in 3 home games against Pittsburgh, the Jets, and the Bears?
With Chase and Higgins?
Yeah, I don't know.
I would take Winston. Give me Winston.
Joe.
Give me Jameis Winston.
Joe, I'd take. How about Gutty Gardner-Minshew?
Oh, he's a winner.
I mean, this team, you bet him for a Super Bowl.
Well, if Wentz is putting up 300 yards.
What a star.
Stop with this garbage quarterback.
What do you mean?
Come on.
You bring it up. I mean, what a gutty comeback win overseas,
Got the game ball.
Deserved. We had his arm was falling off.
Is he on the MVP market? Did you click it already?
Let's get eyes on it. No, it's a good point by you because we wouldn't want to miss out on this ticket while it's still hot. Where is it? Jefferson's 500 to 1 Wentz. All right, how about this? Justin Jefferson is 150. Wentz is 500. Who would you rather in the MVP market?
Justin Jefferson.
Come on. What do you mean? He plays wide receiver. Jefferson wasn't getting the ball like this with JJ.
No, he wasn't.
Come on now. Let's spin it around here. Talk a little more action on Pro Football Today.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Well, Shadur, which quarterbacks are you talking about? Because there is some bad quarterback play out there, but the dude who can't beat Dylan Gabriel out for a job and can't beat Joe Flacco out for a job certainly can't lay claim to being better than any other quarterback in the league.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
That's a lot for a closer. 10. You're not a closer anymore if you blow 10 games. I mean, my goodness. That's
He's mentally broken too. Like, it's to the point where, like, Dodger fans aren't even mad at him; they're more mad at the Dodgers for putting him out there.
Putting him in,
right? It's more so.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, guys, like, he's done.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Major League Baseball has decided it is time to put balls and strikes not just in the hands of the umpires, but also the robot umpires, as they say. The ABS system is now officially in place starting next season. Now, keep in mind, they're not just throwing this out there. They have used this at the Arizona Fall League, and they've also used it at different levels of the minor leagues as well.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Joe Lisi. I'm Kevin Walsh and Joe. We had a lot of games this weekend where the results were surprising. We had one where the total was stunning, and I got to say, you're a good friend. You kept me away from an under in Seattle. That would have been ugly. 38-35, your final. A quarterback battle truly as good as we have seen in years.
Right.
Between Baker and Darnold. 6 combined passing touchdowns, over 700 passing yards, both quarterbacks over 130 passer rating, and a 90 QBR. Tampa gets it done at the gun on the road.
Unbelievable. Let me just say, 700 total yards of offense through the air. Amazing. Baker, 379, 341 for Darnold. I mean, both quarterbacks were hitting on all cylinders. We talked about in the pregame that I thought it would be an over. I thought Tampa Bay would push tempo. They built a 13-0 first-half lead. Mm-hmm. Seattle responded, and then it was a back-and-forth affair. I will say the one Achilles heel, and we talked about it in the breakdown, was that Tampa Bay can't run the football right now.
Yeah. 2.3
yards per carry, 56 yards, right? One-dimensional. But as long as you got number 6 back there, man, let me tell you, Baker is legit. I hope they get the love that they deserve, because when we look at the Super Bowl markets and we look at the NFC championship markets, and I love Jaden Daniels, but if we're talking about seasoned vets and we're talking about, you know, which quarterback can potentially elevate and lead his team, and now the defense is, even though they didn't show it in this game, I still believe over a body of work, 17-game schedule, this defense is going to be above average with Todd Bowles. I think they're a legitimate contender to challenging the Philadelphia Eagles as that number 2 seed in the conference.
Yeah, I think for Tampa Bay, you're not seeing the love in the market
ever
as much as you want. You are seeing Baker climb into the top 4 MVP odds, which I think is warranted. I think the numbers are gaudy. But I leave this game, and Tampa deserves tons of credit. I can't figure out if Seattle is good. I'm not really sure where to land on. I've seen a lot of people, Joe, coming into the week, power ratings had them in their top 10. I did not. But I also did not play, Tampa in this game, despite I thought that Seattle was in a very good spot. And if you had said, hey, Seattle scored 35, come on. I mean, the defense couldn't get a stop here. If you're the Seahawks now, and listen, I know sometimes this feels unfair, but well, who are the best teams they've played? the Niners and the Bucs. They lost to the both of them at home.
Right.
The Windsor, Pittsburgh, the Saints, and the Cardinals. I say that because there's moments I look at Seattle, and they look dangerous.
Right.
But then the results, they leave me a little twisted. You bring up Washington, though. That win against the Chargers, they were down 10-0 in that football game. They all of a sudden win that game 27-10. Jaden Daniels with 231 passing, a late passing touchdown. Ground game was good. I mean, it was an odd football game. They didn't feel as dominant as that final score says, but obviously that was the end result of it here. How big is the stock up arrow for Washington following this win?
Again, it's a game that they needed, right? Because they split with Mariota. And for me, I don't believe the ceiling is like I told you at the start of the year. I don't think they're a 12-win football team. I think they're a 10-win football team. And that's not a knock on Jaden Daniels. I've been the biggest supporter of Jaden Daniels, I believe, on the network. I think he's the real deal. I just think they're not a complete football team on the defensive side of the football. And again, we're seeing regression more so from L.A. than we are of an elevation of Washington. Because, again, I don't think Washington is as complete as, let's say, Tampa. I just don't. I don't think Washington is certainly not as complete as the Eagles right now. I don't think they're as complete if they played again this year against Detroit. But it was a big win because they needed that. You need to get road wins, and that's why I keep going back to Tampa Bay. Not to go back off the subject, but they're 4-1, 3 road wins. Mm-hmm. When you can win on the road in the NFL, that is a huge, I want to say, magnifier to seeing who can potentially make a run at an AFC or an NFC championship.
Yeah.
And when you have a quarterback like Baker or a quarterback like Jaden that's willing to take a game over, whether it be with his arm or his legs like Jaden does at times, that is as good as it gets. I want to see teams win on the road. So for Washington to go into a tough environment, to one of the better defenses, at least at that time, put up 27 points, make halftime adjustments, and completely confuse Justin Herbert and hold him to a $166. I mean, that's a dynamic effort. Now, can they maintain that over 17 games? No. So you got one good, one bad, one good, one bad, and at the end of the day, they're a 10-7 football team.
But I think I like, so for one, it's not a game where it's like, this Washington team, I'm telling you, Eagles, watch out. And they can contend for the division, but it didn't give me.
They don't have a pure
they just
number
needed
one.
A win. I don't know, but
right now.
But you're right.
Down.
They just needed a win. But to me, then, it does make it a little bit more about the Chargers.
Right.
You started 3-0.
Right.
It's like, oh, here we go. This is their year.
3 divisional wins.
And I'm sorry, like, did I think the Commanders were live in the game and it was a good spot for them? Yes, we talked about that. Right. But, Joe, you just lost 2 straight to the Giants and the Commanders, booked as favorites in both football games. I don't know if I really have I understand there were some injuries there, but, you know, Rashawn Slater's not coming back. I don't know if Khalil Mack's coming back. Joe Alt might miss some time here. I'm like, that's not really an excusable performance.
No, but I don't think the Chargers are an elite football team. I think they would be better than where they were last year.
I thought going into Sunday they were one of the 8 best teams in football. I don't know if I think that now.
No, I don't think. I told you. I think Denver is, from what I've seen now, and you take it off to what you've seen lately. What have you done for me lately? Denver's defense flying to the football.
It's a lot of average in the AFC. I'll tell you, I think the NFC's way better this year than the AFC. Way better.
We'll see.
Way better. I think I would argue the 3 best teams in football play in the NFC. Eagles, Packers, Lions.
I disagree.
Why?
I'd say Eagles, Tampa, Lions. I'm sorry.
I think that Green Bay defense is as good as it's felt. I know they gave up 40.
Tampa's only loss came to the Eagles.
Listen, I understand that. I understand. But that's just more NFC. That's more NFC love to me. So, look, I didn't get your thoughts on the Cardinals. Maybe it's for the best. We already had someone slam the table on Pro Football today. Let's do a primetime preview after the break on SportsGrid.
Ashton Genty, between yards and yards before contact and yards after contact, all these sorts of, they're giving him nothing. He is getting hit constantly behind the line of scrimmage, multiple yards behind the line of scrimmage, and frankly, at this point, I think he's essentially out of the race, and this is partly due to Emeka Buka having a great year, Tyler Warren putting up big numbers, Ted McMillan, I think, is maybe the most talented player overall in the rookie class.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The leader right now in the clubhouse in the odds market is Fernando Mendoza. College football purists, yep, absolutely know that guy. Fantastic. He's a great quarterback. Non-purists who are tuning in just for the biggest games, who is this guy, Joe, and how did he get here?
He came from Cal. He's a mobile kid. He's big. He's about 6'3", about 220. He's a gutty kid and had a great performance for Kirk Cignetti.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
We're in a weird place with Trevor Lawrence. This was another one of these quote-unquote can't-miss generational quarterback prospects, right? Everybody was salivating over when he was a freshman winning national championships. And here we are, about 5 years later, looking at ourselves going, is it just time for Trevor Lawrence to get a change of venue or something? Like, what's got to give here? Hopefully this Liam Cohen offense starts to come together.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
The Americans got to find answers in these partnerships, and I think they need to look at their who's making these decisions from a stat standpoint.
Well, it's so funny to me, especially coming off of the Walker Cup just a few weeks before, how it just seems like there's this glaring chasm between American partnered match play and American individual, singles match play.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
It's Pro Football Today. We're going to talk some Monday Night Football here on SportsGrid. But you know what? Little bonus if you're live with us in the mix. Lisi?
Yeah.
Quickly?
What?
Cardinals, Titans?
Terrible. Kyler Murray loafing around in the second half, take a terrible performance. I mean, this Jonathan Gannon needs his head examined because he's done this 2 times this year. He allowed Carolina to come back in the second half with one of Bryce Young's better performances against the Cardinals, and he did it again against the Tennessee Titans. And I understand the interception and DeMarcado fumbling at the goal line, even though he was across and they should have called it a touchdown. That said, the play calling in the second half offensively for Arizona was completely atrocious. They are the Dr. Evil of the NFL now. I put DeMeco Ryans into that before that performance against Baltimore, on Sunday. This performance was absolutely pathetic. Why win games 40-20 when you could lose them 22-21? He shakes if he has to score more than 3 touchdowns. I don't understand. The second half adjustments for Arizona is completely pathetic, week in and week out. And if I see Kyler Murray loaf around with a sad look on his face every single time, this team in the fourth quarter, it's amazing. He mopes on the side. I can't stand it. Really. I just can't. It's terrible. Terrible.
Marvin Harrison. Looking pretty good.
He did.
Cam Ward finally had a big game. A couple of number 1 picks were in action.
Cam Ward had multiple drops in the first half.
Yeah.
Multiple. Like guys had cinder blocks on their hands. He should have had about 150 passing yards. And I was on the over and it came in. But that's besides the point.
Yeah, I got you.
This could be a breakout performance for Cam Ward. Could be.
Well, I don't know if they can catch in Tennessee. All right, let's get into the Monday nighter.
Don't get me started.
Jacksonville, Kansas City. 3.5-point spread for the road favorite, KC. Season may be on the line last week against Baltimore. They win 37-20. I would just like to acknowledge that of the 5 Ravens opponents, the Chiefs have scored the second fewest points. They scored 37. Just gives you an idea on where the Baltimore defense is at right now. Jacksonville leads the league in turnovers. Kansas City doesn't really turn the football over. Total 45.5 here, Joe Lisi.
Yeah.
I have a play in this game. Would you like me to go first?
Go ahead.
I'm on over 45.5. I think this game has juice. I could not get to a side, despite leaning Jacksonville. I thought to myself, if this team is as turnover reliant as it could be, because when you're getting turnovers at this rate, it could be tough to get stops against KC. And while I know the Chiefs' defense has had moments, I think this is a big spot for Liam Cohen's offense here. A little bit of extra prep playing on a Monday at home. A lot of focus on how are we using Travis Hunter, getting Brian Thomas Jr. right. And I think that is going to be starting to happening sooner than later. Some injuries defensively for Jacksonville, Joe. I'm playing over 45.5. I think both of these teams here can get you 24 plus.
I'm with you. I like the over a lot, but I'll take a shot. I like Jacksonville in the game. Let's not forget, Liam Cohen knows Spagnuolo's defense pretty well. Coaching Tampa Bay last year in primetime, they put up 200 yards through the air. They rushed for 5 yards per carry. He game planned really well against Spagnuolo, really exposed them in that loss in Arrowhead. They were catching 9 points on that Monday night. Somebody said at one point they had no shot to potentially win that game. Cade Otton had a breakout performance as well, tight end. So that's my look tonight. Potentially we look to the tight end. Strange for Jacksonville. I think it could be a breakout performance for Trevor Lawrence, 225 plus. I like all the receivers for Jacksonville in this matchup. What are you thinking about?
It's a reminder of why you and I get along.
Why?
I know exactly what you're talking about. And your memory for the right stuff is right on. It's right on. You're on the right side with what you're saying there. I got to tell you. Would you rather bet Travis Hunter or Brian Thomas Jr.
I took them
tonight?
both in parlays, so
yeah.
I think they're gonna abuse KC over the top. I don't think they're going to run on them, so I don't think it's a big ETN game. I think they'll sporadically mix in the run, but I think this is a Trevor Lawrence game, 225, 250 plus. But I did take Hunter for 50, and I took a shot anytime with Brian Thomas, anytime in 90 plus tonight.
Taylor Swift bump for Travis Kelce. Album comes out, Life of a Showgirl. I assume you've not listened.
No.
My guess.
No.
I enjoyed it. I saw the movie already.
Already?
Yeah, it went out.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so
it was good. The Fate of Ophelia music video debuted in theaters.
Can we get to Marquise Hollywood Brown
so
tonight?
Nothing on Travis Kelce plus. No, that's not up your alley. All right.
No, I mean, do we think Kelsey's going to break out?
Well, Xavier Worthy popped up on the injury report out of nowhere. I didn't like that.
Yeah, I know. He bust out with 2 big plays last week against Baltimore, and now all of a sudden he's on the report. Could be a bad look. I don't like that.
No, I don't like it either. I think this could be a big
Juju tonight, maybe.
I think Brian Thomas might have like 100 yards. I think he's due for a game, isn't he? The talent's there.
He is. I took him for 90 plus. You're going to get me up $110?
You're upset that you already bet it. Football today. We'll see you next time. You can't do that.
Well, Shadur, which quarterbacks are you talking about? Because there is some bad quarterback play out there, but the dude who can't beat Dylan Gabriel out for a job and can't beat Joe Flacco out for a job certainly can't lay claim to being better than any other quarterback in the league.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
That's a lot for a closer. 10. You're not a closer anymore if you blow 10 games. I mean, my goodness. That's
he's mentally broken too. Like, it's to the point where like Dodger fans aren't even mad at him; they're more mad at the Dodgers for putting him out there.
Putting him in.
Right? It's more so.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, guys, like he's done.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Major League Baseball has decided it is time to put balls and strikes not just in the hands of the umpires, but also the robot umpires, as they say. The ABS system is now officially in place starting next season. Now, keep in mind, they're not just throwing this out there. They have used this at the Arizona Fall League, and they've also used it at different levels of the minor leagues as well.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Everything changed at that point. They went and got Jonquel Jones, and they really had that triple threat monster team. That second year they lost in the WNBA Finals, 3-1 against the Las Vegas Aces. Year 3, they finally get over the top hump. You can question whether they should have won the title with that foul call late in Game 5 that sent Breanna Stewart to the foul line.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.